Today we are doing reflection. Yesterday we did translations, which were slides. Today we're doing reflections, which are flipped. Okay, or should I go to I did. Okay, reflections are when we flip. Okay, it's like when you look in the mirror and you see things are different. Like if you raise your right hand, it looks like it's your left hand in the mirror.
Yeah.
That's what the reflection is. So your hand is still your hand. It's still the same shape, same size. It just changes locations and directions. Okay. So first thing we need to do is make sure we know the difference between x and y axis. Which direction does the y axis go? Up and down. Everybody agree?
Yep.
Up and down. And the x-axis goes
left to right, or right to right.
Right
to left. Confused.
Left and right. So you have to know the direction and which one is which. But usually it's labeled. Sometimes not usually, I guess. So it says reflecting when the line of symmetry is the x-axis. So I want you with your pencil, highlighter, colored pen, something to trace the x-axis. Okay, so there's our x-axis. We are going to reflect over that axis. So I'm going to start with D because it's over here on the side. How far away is D from? So then I need to move it 2 from there. And that's D prime. Okay. What are the coordinates for D prime?
-4,
-4, -2. Everybody agree? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now let's take A. How far is A from the 4? So then it needs to be 4 here. That's A prime. What is A prime? What are the coordinates?
-1, -4.
-1, -4. Okay. C is how far? 2. So it needs to be 2. So that's C prime.
-2, +2.
No, it's just +2 to -2.
Yeah.
So it goes forward 2 and then it goes down. So 2, -2. And then finally B. How far is B? 4.
-4 and +5.
5 and -4.
Oh my goodness, Jeremiah.
You know 5, -4. You're just getting your x and y split. That's okay. Okay. Now, once you have the points, you want to go ahead and connect them because I want to see if they make the same shape. This is where your ID comes in handy to make a nice parallelogram.
They do have a split.
Do you always know
exactly
that we're right if it makes the same shape?
It should make the same shape. Okay? It is still a parallelogram, but is it facing the same direction?
No.
No.
It's a mirror.
Okay? Yeah. So when you reflect something, it does change the orientation.
It looks like you're trying to build like a paper airplane.
It looks like you're trying to build a box.
Yeah. Okay, so which line did we go over?
The x-axis.
The x-axis. So the algebra is going to be either one thing or the other. So it's not like you have to add or subtract or multiply on this. It's going to be very, very easy. What do we always start with for algebra? X, y. So let's look at our x numbers. It was -1, and on A prime, what is it? -1. B was 5. B prime is 5. C is 2. C prime
2. D
is -4. D prime.
-4.
What happened to my x values? They stayed the same. Everybody, what happened?
Same.
So x stayed the same. So that's easy. You just copy the x again. Look at your y values. It was 4. Now it's -4.
All of them became negatives.
Okay? They became negatives. Or the opposite. So my y values changed signs or became the opposite. So every single time my y value is the opposite. If I want to make something the opposite, what can I put in front of it to make it the opposite?
Negative.
A negative, good. So it's y, comma, negative x.
So if it's like 4, so say for like 2 and 2,
Uh-huh.
so it's just 2 and then you just put a negative on the other side?
Yep.
And that's all we're doing?
You just change the sign. Very easy. Okay? The biggest part is making sure you know which sign you're reflecting over and remembering which rule is which. Okay? So every single time, mark your symmetry. Count the number of points, how far you are from the line of symmetry, and then do the same on the other side. Make sure you put the prime on them and connect them. Okay? So now we have a triangle. It's saying that we want to reflect it over the what? Oh,
The x-axis.
axis.
So do we always trace the x-axis?
If it tells you X. On the back, we're going to talk about Y. On
It
the
does
front-
y too?
Okay, so now, how far is T from the X-axis?
The t, -7?
It's 3 away, so I have to plot it 3 away here. So it's T prime. So now my coordinate, Brandon would be corrected, is -7. And what's my Y value?
3? Positive 3?
Positive 3, because I went up 3, good. Okay, my U, how far is U?
1.
1. So how far away should it be on top? 1. That's U prime. So what are the coordinates for U?
3 and 1.
Positive 3, positive 1.
If you want us to stay positive, it's positive.
How do they get positive then?
Because it's on the other side, we went up.
I know, but you said it'll just always go opposite.
We're going to talk about that in just a second. Okay, on B, how far is B?
6.
6.
So it'd be 6, positive 6 and 6.
Yep, 6 and 6. Once you have your points, go ahead and connect them for me. Hopefully they make a triangle that is similar to the other triangle. Again, your idea is a great straight edge, safety, fashion, and practical. Okay, do I still have a triangle?
Yep.
Yes. Is it the same size? Yes. All it did was change directions. Okay? So if we look at our x values, did they stay the same?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. These were all the same. So x stays the same.
On the homework, would you want us to highlight that?
You don't have to. I'm just doing it as a teaching piece. Okay, x stays the same. Did my y value stay the same?
No.
No.
It
When
went
it was
positive.
negative, it
Oh.
became positive. It was negative, it became positive. It was negative, it became positive. So it's still going to be negative y, but that's because when you multiply two negatives, what happens? It's positive.
Wait, so for the homework, we really don't even have to make the shape. We could just look at this and know it's opposite.
Okay?
I'm lazy.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Ma'am.
Will it always be negative y?
Someone didn't clear the
Okay, so
Okay, on the back. Now let's look at what happens when we go across the y-axis. Y as y.
So would this mean the y would stay the same instead of the x?
Okay,
Oh,
we
so
want
I'm
to
just-
trace the y-axis. This time I'm flipping it over the y. So I want to count how far I am from the y-axis. So x is my first letter, so how far is x?
7.
7. So I gotta carry it over 7 right there. That is x prime. What is the coordinate for x prime?
Do we start with the y or
7, 5.
still do?
7, 5.
7, 5. What was your question, Jonah?
Never mind. I was wondering if you were gonna
Flip it.
Yeah, never mind.
Okay. Y is how far from the y-axis?
2.
2. So this one should be also 2.
2, 8.
So it's 2 and 8. And then finally, Z is way down here. How far is Z?
6.
6. So it also has to be 6 here.
6. Negative
That's
6.
Z prime.
Wait, so since it's the y-axis, is the y-axis gonna go first? Oh, never mind.
Okay. Everybody got the new points? Use your ID to connect these. Make sure we have the same shape.
We do.
This helps you if you put something in the wrong place. It helps you to be like, oh, my triangle looks way different than the other one. Okay, and again, same shape, same size, it just changed directions. Okay, so on the other ones, our x-axis stayed the same. If I look at my x's here, did they stay the same?
No.
No, what happened to them?
They became a positive.
So they changed signs. If you look at your y's, what happened?
They stayed the same.
5, 5, 8, 8, -6, -6. So the y is the same. So if it flips over the y stays the same. So our algebra is negative x, y. So just remember, flipping over the y stays the same. Flip y stays the same. If you flip over it, it stays the same. And the other one changes. Everybody good? All right. Quadrilateral ABCD is reflected over the which axis? Y-axis. What is the coordinates for point B? All right. So what is B right now? 8, 8. And when I put it over the y-axis, what's it going to become?
Negative 8.
Over here, it becomes negative 8, oops, and then positive 8. And what changed?
It just got on that.
Just the x. The x changed, y stays the same. So you can draw it and count, or you can remember the rule. But if you remember the rule, you got to make sure you really remember it. Don't just guess. Okay? All right, so my algebra, x, y. What happened to x? Negative x. What happened to y? Nada. Nothing. All right, and then finally, we have an example here where some of them overlap. It goes into like multiple quadrants. What quadrant is this in?
One.
Just one. What do you think the reflection would be in?
2.
Quadrant 2. Alright, so sometimes they go into multiple quadrants. First you have to ask yourself, which quadrant am I going over?
2, 4. I mean 1 and 4.
What if it goes over, like, if it starts in 2? Oh.
So which axis am I flipping over?
X.
X.
The x.
How can you flip it over when the Q's on the wrong side?
I'll show you. Okay, so we're going over the x-axis.
It doesn't have the numbers either.
Alright, so we're going to start with point L. How far is point L? 2, so it should be 2. So what do you think the coordinates for L prime are?
Positive. Oh yeah.
Positive 1,
Positive 1, negative 2. Wait, no.
Wait, what?
because it went over 1 and down 2. So
Oh.
positive 1, negative 2. Okay. G is 1, 2, 3, 4 points away, so it needs to be 1, 2, 3, 4 points away. G prime.
So Q's gotta be on
Positive 3,
here.
negative 4.
So 1, 2, 3, positive 3, negative 4. Everybody agree?
I don't like that.
Okay, and then Q, it is 1 away, so it needs to be
Oh,
1 away.
that's easier than I thought.
So what are the coordinates for Q prime?
One.
Positive 5, positive 1.
Oh, 5, 1.
5?
4.
4. 4, positive 1. And then obviously we want to connect them to make sure that we're good in the hood.
Wait, but that isn't a mean one. It's in a different direction.
Oh, this is so annoying.
Or is it the same? It's just like this.
Okay, so it was here, it flipped here. It was up here, and it flipped this way.
Are there going to be a lot of problems that don't quite remember?
I don't remember, but probably not. Okay, so it flipped over the x-axis. So our algebra says that what?
X is the same.
X stays the same, and y does what?
Oh, negative.
Negative. And if you don't know for sure, you want to double check. Look, 1, 3, 4. Negative, negative, positive. They changed. Okay? Everybody okay with reflecting over the y-axis?
Not
Okay.
really.
At the top of that paper, you can fold it over, so that's where we'll put the glue. And then we're going to look at that second page. And I'm going to give you just a minute to find the point of the new shape without a picture. So you have to ask yourself, what am I flipping over and what is the algebra rule? Okay, so just take a minute to fill these points in. Ask yourself, what am I flipping over? And then look at your notes and see what happens. What's the rule? Look at your notes. I want you to try it by yourself.
Which one is it?
So ask yourself, what am I flipping over? What's staying the same and what changes? And then add the new points in there. You're literally just changing the sign of something. That's it.
Couldn't we just use our the grid on our own?
You could, but you would have to graph a lot. So that's the whole point of having the algebra, so you don't have to always graph. So on the side of that big space, write what it's flipping over, what stays the same, and what changes, and that will help you to go through and very easily and quickly write the new answers. When you're done, look up here. See if you have questions, see if you got it right. How did I not get what?
Negative 6.
When I flip over the X, what happens?
It stays the same. Will it stay?
Yeah, your X stays the same because I'm flipping over the X. So my X was already positive 6, that's why it stayed positive 6.
How do we know if we're flipping X or Y?
What does it say at the very top?
Oh,
Reflection over
so the X would always stay the same.
if it flips over the X.
'Cause
Whatever
you
it
could say
flips
Y.
over, that's what stays the same.
So if it said Y, you change it.
Yes, correct.
So then we just put Y.
Yep. So when we flip over the X, the Y changes signs. So it should be 6, negative 8, negative 5, negative 1, 10, positive 9, negative 4, positive 11, and 7, negative 12. Are there any questions on that?
No.
Okay, last thing, let's look at the pictures. Well, the first one is not a picture. I have points. Look at my X. It was 9 and it's still 9. So did X stay the same?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, my Y's. What happened to my Y's?
Change 9.
They changed. So when the y changes, what does that mean it's flipping over?
The X.
The X.
The x. If the x stays the same, I flip over the x. So because my x's stay the same, I'm flipping over the x. On number 2, did my x's stay the same?
No.
No, they changed. What did my y's do?
Stay the same.
So what am I flipping over?
Y.
The y-axis.
Wait, the first two didn't change.
Yeah.
7 and 7 didn't change.
Negative 7 and 7? Okay, on number 3, which line does it look like it flipped over?
The Y.
The y. Number 4, what does it look like it flipped over?
X.
The x. Okay, so just making sure you know which one is which is x, which is y, which is changing, which is not. Okay, hold that paper up all the way. That is your notes.